Kalkadosh, Boker Or, Masechet, Chodesh Tov, Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Yud Amud Aleph, 13a1. We just finished speaking about yesterday about the entire concept of what is called a Shtar HaKna'ah. Shtar HaKna'ah is basically a document where the borrower is being makneh to the malveh. Makneh meaning he's acquiring to the lender his properties, meaning he's being mishabed. He's subjugating, he's putting a lien on his properties, whether the loan takes place or it doesn't take place. You understand? So for example, you're taking a loan from the bank, right? You're taking a mortgage. And even though it could be that you're only going to get the loan from the bank in another month, but from today, when you're writing the document, you're already doing this shtar hakna'ah, which means that you're subjugating, you're putting a lien on your property, right? Because you're making a shibud on yourself. Says the Gemara, Ihachi, right? You give me Amud Aleph on the top, 13a1 on the top. Ihachi, the first line. Ihachi, if you're going to tell me that you're not going to write a shtar chov stam unless you actually see, right, the loan. So matnitin diktani, so our Mishnah that we learned, that if there has the achrayut nechasim, you're not going to give it back. Vilkimna, and we said, remember, we're talking about that you found a loan document, and we said that if you have achrayut nechasim, you don't give it back. So vilkimna, so we said, keshechayav modeh. What does that mean? That the guy is admitting that he owes the money still. Umishum, and because Shema katav livo benisan, velo lavat tishri. Maybe he wrote the document in Nisan, and he didn't lend the money until Tishri. Ve'ati lemitraf lekuchot shelo kadin. And then he's going to come and he's going to take from the lekuchot shelo kadin. So amay lo yachzir. So why is it then that he's not going to give it back? Nichsi, let us see. I b'shtar hakna'ah, if it's going to be dealing with a shtar hakna'ah, hayshabed l'nershe. He was mishabed himself. Vi b'shtar delo hakna'ah, and if it's not talking about a shtar hakna'ah, leka lemechash, we're not going to suspect anything. Ta'amarta, but you just said, ki leka malve ba'adeh lo kotvinan, you never write it unless the malve is there. Yeah, because you're never going to write stam, right, when there's no lender, right? Because it has to be done in front of the deans right now. So therefore, it comes out that the zman, the time which is written in the document, was the time of the alva'ah, just like the malveh min al. And so why are you going to give it back then? Okay. So now the Gemara answers. Amalecha Ravasi. Ravasi is going to answer. Af al gav, even though dishtare de lava kna'ah, that when we're talking about the entire concept of a shtar, which is not a hakna'ah, yeah, he says kileka milve ba'adelo katvinan, when there's no malveh, we do not write it, which means, remember one time, if there's a shtar hakna'ah, which is a document that you're subjugating yourself from now, so therefore, even without the malveh, you write it. Why? Because you obligated yourself. You're subjugating yourself, and you're allowed to do that. So therefore, it's called a shtar hakna'ah. So if there's a shtar hakna'ah, it makes sense. But even if there's no shtar hakna'ah, so you're right, when there's no malveh, you're not going to write it. Matnitin, so what is our Mishnah referring to? Kevan de nafal, right, since this document fell, and it got lost. Remember, here we're talking about that you found a debt document, which means it fell, right? It got lost. Kevan de nafal, once it fell, itrale, it becomes like there's something bad happened to it. And therefore, chashin, and therefore we're going to suspect, dilma ikre vekatuv. Right? Maybe what happens is that it fell, it got lost, and once there's a pgam in it, we're going to suspect that maybe something happened in between. Right? Maybe it was done lo kadin, not according to the halacha, and so on and so forth. Okay? So Abaye comes now and he says, Edav bechatumav zachin lo, vafilu shtare de lav hakna'ah. Says Abaye, I apologize. We had to answer that it had to be a shtarei hakna'ah. And a shtarei hakna'ah is a document that you subjugate yourself from the beginning. I want to say that the edim, which are signed on the document, those are the edim which are mishabed, right? Meaning the edim which are signed are putting a shiabud, or putting a lien on this document. And therefore, the second that they come and they sign, even though it could be that the loan only took place later on, that in itself subjugates it. Which means, in essence, you're changing any normal debt document into a shtar hakna'ah. Understood? That's what we're doing. We're changing any type of a normal debt document into a shtar hakna'ah because the witnesses which are signed on this document are doing that. Okay? So says the Gemara, Mishum dekashele, because he had a question. Kevan da Marta, since you told me shtare de lav hakna'ah, that if it's not a shtar hakna'ah, when there's no malveh, we don't write a shtar chov. So leka lemecha shtikr v'katuf. So we're not going to suspect that maybe something happened not kadin. So why do we say then in our Mishnah that if you find a shtar chov, you don't give it back? We're not going to start suspecting, right, that maybe it's just zmano shel shtar mugdam. What's going on over here? Elahad itznam, but that which we learned in the Mishnah, right, Yudchet Amud Aleph, Matzag yiten hashim v'shichrurei avadim daitikim matana v'shovarim harei zo lo achzir. We're going to learn later on that what happens, because until now we were talking about that you found a shtar chov. You found a debt document. What happens if you found a get of a woman? Or you found a get shichrur. You remember, a get shichrur was emancipation letter. A letter that you freed your slave. Okay? Or you found daiteki. Daiteki is basically like a will. Right? The documents of the shchiv mera. When you have a shchiv mera, basically a person that's on his deathbed and he's writing like a, like a testament, right? Like a will. Okay? Matana. Right? You came and you gave me a matana. Here, take a matana. Present. This is what you're giving as a present. Yeah? Or shovar. Shovar is a receipt. So you came and you found all these different types of documents. Says the Mishnah there also as well. You don't give it back. Now, you don't give it back not to the ones that gave the document, or not to the ones that received the document. Right? Now, it could be that because they already did it, or maybe they didn't do it. Why? Shema ketubimayu. Maybe they were written in order to give it. And he didn't actually give it at the end. Okay? So, for example, I was going to give, right, Michelle a present. Yeah? And then all of a sudden, I decided, you know what, maybe I'm going to wait a little bit. So what happened was, I wrote the document, but I didn't give it. Yeah, I was going to free my good friend David. Yeah, I was going to free him. Right? He's our property, as they say. Yeah? So what happened was, and then I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Right? The other cases obviously has to be between a man and a wife, right? For a get. Or the person has to be on a sick bed, right? That he's giving over the, shriv mena, right? Or a receipt. Huh? Shovar, a receipt. So that's the other one that could apply to anybody without any problems. Yeah? Shovar. Right? Somebody comes, he's going to give me money. So he told me, I'm going to pay you back tomorrow. I said, okay. I come, I write a receipt. He came the next day. Wallo. Yeah, vazio. You know what vazio is? Empty. Nothing. He didn't come with nothing. So obviously, I wrote the receipt, but I didn't get the money. So I wrote the receipt, but I didn't give it to him. Because there was no money. Yeah? Ask the Gemara, 1 second. Even if you change your mind, what do I care? You have the witnesses. And the witnesses should already be enough. Yeah? You understood? Which means the witnesses should already be enough. So according to this, if we just said right now that the signatures, meaning the signatures which are on the document, are the ones which are doing everything, so what do I care if you didn't even give it to? If you came and you wrote, let's say a get, yeah, you write a get, come on, the signatures are already enough because they obligate. So answers the Gemara, Hanemila, when do we say this? Hechal dekamatul yadeh. When do we say that signatures actually have an effect? When the document gets to his hands. So when the document gets to his hands, so therefore the signature does something. Yeah, but if the document never got to his hands, lo amrinan. We're never going to say, right, that ki'ilu, that the signatures do something. No. Signatures only do something, have an effect when it gets to his hands. Okay? Fine. Next, ela matzniti. But our Mishnah, diktani that we learned, matzah shetare chov. You found the shtar chov. If it's got a lien, lo yachzir, don't give it back. Yeah, ve'okimna. And we went and we established that the chayav is modeh, which means that the guy that's obligated, he admits that it's true. Umishum shema ketav lo bat, maybe he wrote it to borrow it in Nisan, and really bemet the loan only took place in Tishri. Bishum al Ravasi, I understand according to Ravasi, we're talking about a sharia kanayata. So it makes sense. So Zemuki lavish, so he comes and he says, and therefore according to him, we're talking about not a shtarakna. Uchti amnina, and just like we said before. But according to Abaye, that he's saying that the edim which are chatumim, that means the witnesses which are signed on it, are the ones which are being mizaket to him. What are you going to say then, according to Abaye? What's the reasoning? What's going on? Why can't you give it back? So answers the Gemara, Abaye is going to tell you, matzniti nahainu tama, the reason why in our Mishnah you're not allowed to give back the document. You know why? He says, techaish lepiraon v'leknunya. Because we're going to suspect, maybe be'emet, it was already paid back, and then it was going to be done ramaut. You know what the ramaut is? No. Trickery. Listen to this case, yeah? Me and David are best friends. Yeah, best friends. So listen to what we do, right? I need a loan. I tell him, can you lend me money? Yeah, okay, fine. We come and we get a loan, everything perfect. Okay, very good. All of a sudden, I was strapped for cash. Now what happens is that I want, right? I need another loan or whatever happens. Baba Haki comes, and he comes, let's say in whatever month it is, and he tells me, pay up. Don't listen, I don't have the money. So what does he do? He comes and he wants to take part of my property. He wants to take property, he wants to take something. So he takes it. Now what happens is that really be'emet, I already paid David back. But what do? Right? We lose the document. Keilu, right? I go up. Right? So I paid him back. So technically, we lose the document.
So you claim that you still owe me.
Yeah, I claim I still owe him.
So that means he's in the first position.
So he's in first position. So he takes it away from you now. Now I prefer that it goes to him. You know why? Because he's my good buddy. So I know that tomorrow, boom, I take it back, no problem. But I took it out from you. So that's called knunya. That's called a trickery. Which means that we suspect really be'emet you already paid it back. But maybe it could be that there was some type of a trickery which was done, right? And that really be'emet I already paid it back. So says the Gemara, Shmuel de Amar lo chashinan. But according to Shmuel, we don't suspect to foul play. Meaning we don't suspect all this thing about, maybe this, maybe that. We don't suspect to it. So what's going to happen then? So he says, Michael, remember, what are you going to say? So he says, Hanicha, it's going to be good, Isavala, if he holds like Ravasi. That he says, we're talking about Shtari Akna, so we're talking about in our Mishnah, it wasn't a Shtari Akna. But if you're going to tell me like Abaye that he says that the witnesses which are signed are going to make him be Zocheh, what are you going to say? So answers the Gemara, Shmuel is going to tell you that our Mishnah is dealing with Keshe'en Chayav Modeh, that he doesn't agree that he owes money anymore. Meaning we went and we made an assumption that our Mishnah is talking about where he admits that he owes the money. Now we're talking about that he doesn't admit it. Meaning he says, what are you talking about? I don't know you anything. You found a debt document, but I already paid you back. That's called En Chayav Modeh. That the guy that's obligated does not know that he's obligated. He says, no, I already paid you back. So says the Gemara, if that's the case, so if they don't have Achriyun Nechasim, why are you giving it back? You're right, he cannot collect from Meshubadim, Nechasim Meshubadim. Nehidilu Gavim Meshabde. But you could collect from anything else. So answers the Gemara. Shemuel goes according to his reasoning. Tamar Shemuel says, Omer ya Rabbi Meir said, Shtar chov she'en bo achriyun nechasim, any shtar chov that does not have achriyun nechasim, and gove, you don't collect lo mishabde, not from mishubadim, velo b'mnechare, and not from nechasim nechoridim. Is according to Shitat Rabbi Meir, it makes sense. You can't collect from anything. That's why you could give it back, because you're not going to collect from nechasim mishubadim, from a lien property, even from nechasim she'en lahem achrayut, you don't collect from nothing. So it makes sense. So ask the Gemara, so if you don't collect anything, what are you going to give it back for? If I'm going to come and I'm going to say, hey, Baba Haki, here's your document. Can you collect from a lien, like a property that has a lien? No. Can you collect from properties which are metaltalim? No. So why am I giving it back to them? It's a worthless piece of paper. You can't do anything with the paper. So what are you doing? Answers the Gemara, Rav Natan bar Oshaya, Latzuru pitzuchto shel malveh. He says, no, you know why you're doing it. You're giving it to him in order to put it on top of it's like a bottle cap. You're putting it on top of a barrel. Meaning in the olden days, they used to come and they used to use, right? Even a document, it's money. It's worth paper. Paper in the olden days was worth money. You come and you use it as a bottle cap. You put it on top of your barrel. Now you know that no flies come in, nothing comes in. You want to make sure everything's going to be okay. So says the Gemara, fine. So why don't you give it back to the borrower? Right? Right? To actually put it, why are you giving it back to the lender? So answers the Gemara, Lovehu de'amar lo adam. Right? You'd give him a bet. 13b. The love is saying, Lo hayu dvarim me'olam. It never existed. Meaning, why in the world am I going to give it back to the borrower if he said that I never borrowed money? So obviously I'm not going to give it back to the borrower. You're right, the lender, I can't do anything with the lender. But at the end of the day over here, what do you want me to do? He says it never existed. So if it never existed, why in the world are you going to come and you're going to give it back to the guy? Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Elazar, says Rabbi Elazar, the machloket between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim in our Mishnah is, B'she'en hayav modeh. That the guy, right, that he's not admitting that he owes. Which means the Love says that it was already either that he probably just says that either he never borrowed, or it was like, say, for example, a forged document, but nothing, it doesn't exist. That says to mean that shtar shem bo achrayun nechasim, you don't collect at all. Meaning this document, since there was no lien on the document, you do not collect anything. V'Rabbanan savre, so the rabbis are going to hold, mi meshabdehu de lo gave. You don't collect from nechasim mishubadim. But you do collect but you do collect from bnei chorin, right? Aval, however, though, keshechayav modeh, when the guy admits that really be'emet, the guy coming, he admits that really be'emet, he did borrow the money. Divra kol, according to everybody, yachzir, you do give it back. Velo chashinan, and we're not going to suspect we're not going to suspect that there's going to be monkey business. Yeah, you know what monkey business is, yeah? No. Yeah, monkey business. We don't suspect for that. We're not going to suspect that that you paid it up and then you do again and then no. We don't suspect for that. Okay, that's a shita of Rabbi Elazar. So one more time, according to shita Rabbi Elazar, the machloket in our Mishnah is that Rabbi Meir and Chachamim are talking about v'she'en chayav modeh, and therefore Rabbi Meir holds that you don't collect from anything, and Rabbanan hold that you do collect from bnei chorin. But that is a machloket. But if it's the be'emet that he admits to it, according to everybody, right, you give it back, and we don't suspect any monkey business. That is shita of Rabbi Elazar. Next shita, Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says machloket keshechayav modeh. The machloket is going to be when the chayav is modeh, which means that you admit that you owe the money. The Rabbi Meir. So again, this is the opposite of Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar just said that the machloket of the Mishnah of Rabbi Meir and Chachamim was that he doesn't admit to it. Okay, now we're saying no, the machloket is when you do admit to it. Now why? Rabbi Meir savar, Rabbi Meir holds shtar shem bo achrayun nechasim shabde lo gave bnei chol migvav gave. That means in this shita, according to Rabbi Meir, you don't collect from nechasim mishubadim, but you do collect from nechasim bnei chorin. Okay, you do collect. For Rabbanan savre and the rabbis hold mi mishabde na megave. You do collect even from nechasim mishubadim. So here, it's exact. Meaning here, remember, the rabbis were always more, I don't know if you want to call it lenient, but they were always more easy to collect, right? Even in the previous case, the rabbis were always, Rabbi Meir was the one that you don't do anything, and here he's saying, no, you do. Okay? That's what's going on. So now he comes and he says, right, as follows. Okay? Rabbanan hold that you do collect even from the nechasim meshubadim. Yeah? And now it comes out that he says, Aval kishen chayav modeh, but let's say he is not going to be modeh. So what happens? He comes and he says, Divrei hakol, according to everybody, lo yachzir, you don't give it back. Why? Techashina lepiraon. We're going to suspect for piraon. What does piraon mean? We're going to suspect that really be'emet, maybe he paid it up. And if he paid it up, so that's why you're not going to give it back. That means according to everybody, if he does not agree, you don't give it back. Everywhere it says you don't give it back. So one more time, according to Rabbi Elazar, the machloket was he doesn't agree to it, and that's the machloket. right? Do you give it back or not give it back? Okay, but if the guy admits, according to everybody, you give it back. Why? We don't suspect for monkey business. According to Rabbi Yochanan, the exact opposite. The machloket is when he does agree to it, meaning that he admits to it. That Rabbi Meir says, what? No, but each one is saying that there's a machloket in the Mishnah between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim. But now the question is, what is the case? So Rabbi Elazar says that the machloket between them is whether be'emet en chayav modeh, but if it was modeh, divrei kol, you give it back. And Rabbi Yochanan says that the machloket between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim is when he admits to it. That according to Rabbi Meir, he says that since there's a shtar that it doesn't have achayut nechasim, so you don't collect from nechasim mishubadim, but you do collect from nechorim. So therefore, that's why he's coming in and saying, so we're not going to suspect any monkey business. But according to rabbis, that whether you do collect also from nechasim mishubadim, right? So that's a machloka between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim. But when the guy does not admit to it, divrei kol, so therefore he's going to say, according to everybody, you don't give the document back. Why? Because I'm going to suspect a monkey business. Okay? Fine. So now remember, there were two different machlokot. What is the case of the Mishnah? Meaning, one more time, you have a machloket Rabbi Meir and Chachamim. Yeah, do you give back the debt or don't give back the debt? Okay? The machloket between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yochanan was, what's the case? Does he agree or does he not agree? Where is the machloket basically between them? Okay? So now we're going to bring a braita which we're going to bring a braita which goes in accordance to Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah? Utyufta de Rabbi Lazar bechada, utyufta de Shmuel betarte. He comes and he says there's going to be a tyufta, a question against Rabbi Lazar in one, and a question in Shmuel in two. Let's see what goes on. What does that mean? Yeah? Basically, right? Basically, it says like this. There's a tiyufta. There's going to be a question. So we have a proof to Rabbi Yochanan. Then we have a question, refutation on Rabbi Lazar. And then we have a refutation, right, on Shmuel in two different ways. So let's see. Let's see what's going on exactly. So it goes like this. It says, right, as follows. Matzah shtar shtare chov. If you find a debt document, yeah, v'yesh b'hem achriyut nechasim, it has achriyut nechasim. Af al pi sheshnehem modim, even though they both agree, meaning the loveh and malveh both agree, lo yachsid, you don't give it back. Lo loveh, lo lazeh, v'lo lazeh, no to nobody. Right, you don't give it back to anybody. En b'hem achriyut nechasim, if it does not have achriyut nechasim, bizman shaloveh modeh, if right now he's going to admit, yachzir la malveh, give it back to the malveh. En aloveh modeh, if he doesn't admit, lo yachsid, you don't give it back. Lo lazeh v'lo lazeh, not to each one. Divrei Rabbi Meir, these are the words of Rabbi Meir. Shayar Rabbi Meir omer, but Rabbi Meir used to say, shtare chov, when you have a shtar chov, sheyesh b'hem achriyut nechasim, that they have achriyut nechasim. Remember, achriyut nechasim means that it's like it has a lien. Okay? Goveh min nechasim mishubadim, you're going to collect from nechasim mishubadim. V'she'em b'hem achriyut nechasim, if it does not have achriyut nechasim, right? Goveh, right, min nechasim b'nechorin, you're going to collect from nechasim b'nechorin. So says the Gemara, v'chachamim say, echad zeh v'echad zeh, doesn't matter which case, goveh min nechasim mishubadim, you are going to collect from nechasim mishubadim. So one more time, this is the braita. Everyone heard the braita? One more time, the braita came and it said, if you find debt documents, if it's got achrayut nechasim, even though they both agree, right, you don't give it back to anybody. If it doesn't have achrayut nechasim, so if he admits to it, you give it back to the malveh. If he doesn't give it back to, if he doesn't admit, you don't give it back to anybody. That's those words are Rabbi Meir. Because Rabbi Meir says that if they have achrayut nechasim, you collect from nechasim mishubadim. If it doesn't have nechasim, you collect from b'nechorin. Chachamim say, right, you always collect from nechasim mishubadim, and therefore you never give it back. Okay, that's the case of that's shitat chachamim. So now let's try to see the refutations and what's going on. So Tiyuta de Rabbi Lazar bechada. Where is the question against Rabbi Lazar? Because he says that in shitat Rabbi Meir, shtar she'em bo achriyut nechasim eno goveh min nechasim mishubadim. According to shitat Rabbi Lazar, go back to Rabbi Lazar, right? The previous page. What does Rabbi Lazar say? Rabbi Lazar says that Rabbi Meir savar, Rabbi Meir holds, shtar she'em bo achriyut nechasim, a document that does not have achriyut nechasim, Eno Gove does not collect, not from Meshubadim and not from Nechorim. What did we just say in this Braita? We just said, Shayar Rabbi Meir Omer, Shtar Shesh B'Hem Achlu Yechasim, Gove Nechasim Meshubadim. V'Shem B'Hem Achlu, Gove Nechasim B'Nechorim. So therefore, this is a question against him, because you just said that Shtar Shesh B'Hem Achlu, Eno Gove Nechasim Meshubadim. You don't collect from nothing. And here we say that you do collect from Nechasim and Nechorim. So that's one question against Rabbi Elazar. One more time. We took a Braita after learning each Shita. We had Rabbi Elazar, we had Rabbi Yochanan, we had Shemuel. We went and we took the Braita, and now we come and we say, okay, so you have a question. This is the question. Yeah? So he comes and he says, right? So this is a Tiyufta Rabbi Elazar. The Ka'amar, and he says, whether it's according to Rabbi Meir or according to Rabbanan, we're never going to suspect for foul play, for monkey business. Ubraita Ktani, the Braita said, Shtar she'en bo achrayu nechasim, that if you have a document that does not have achrayu nechasim, mishabdeu de lo gave, you don't collect from nechasim mishubadim, from bnei chorin. You do collect, right? V'ktani, and we learned, whether according to Rabbi Meir, whether according to Rabbanan, we do suspect for kanunya. The Ktani, as we learned, af al pi sheshneim modim, even though they both admit, yeah, he comes and he says, lo yachzi, lo lozeh, v'lo lozeh, you don't give it back to anybody. Alma, so you see from here, yeah, what happens? Chashin lekanunya. We do suspect for kanunya. So this is the question against Rabbi Elazar. Okay? So the Gemara is going to ask, there were two questions against Rabbi Elazar, not one. One question against Rabbi Elazar was in Shitat Rabbi Meir. One more time, Rabbi Elazar came and he said, Amar Rabbi Elazar, the machloket is that when the chayav is not modeh. That Rabbi Meir holds, listen to these words, Rabbi Meir holds, if it's a shtar that does not have achrayut nechasim, you don't collect from nothing. This Braita said, if it's a shtar that does not have achrayut nechasim, you don't collect from nechasim mishubadim, but you do collect from nechasim b'nechorin. So that's one question against Rabbi Elazar. But the second question against Rabbi Elazar is the entire concept of, right, of do we suspect to monkey business or not? Because Rabbi Elazar here at the end said, right, aval keshachayav modeh divrei hakol yachsir, according to Rabbi, you give it back. Why? Lo chashin al lepiraun leknuya. We don't suspect for monkey business. We don't suspect for paying back a monkey business. Here, we just said that you do. So it's two questions. We said there was one question against Rabbi Elazar. There are two questions against Rabbi Elazar, not one. Yeah? Answers the Gemara on Yudaled Amud Aleph on the top, 14a1 on the top. Chadahu. Really, Be'emet is one question. Why? Techad Tamu, it's the same reasoning. Meaning, even though you want to call it two different questions, it's really one question. It's the same reasoning. Temishum de Kama Rabbi Elazar, but since Rabbi Elazar comes and he says, it's a machloket, b'she'en chayav modeh, when he's not going to be modeh, hu metar etzachi. So that's why he's answering like that. Which means, since he was the one that said that the entire machloket between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim is that when the guy is not modeh, meaning the guy does not admit to the truth, he says, what? I never borrowed money from him. Or he says it was a shtar mezuyaf, because that's what Rabbi Elazar said. So because of that, that's why he's going to come and he's going to answer such a case, right, that we're talking about, that we're not going to suspect the thing, but it's the same reasoning. And since it's the same reasoning, it's really be'emet one question against Rabbi Elazar. Okay? And obviously we're going to continue with saying how many questions you have against Shemuel, and then also with the proof with Rabbi Yochanan.